Mhm. 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 Okay. I see what we're doing now. Hello, everybody. This is Carter Drew. Real talk, real people, and I see what we're doing right now. I see what's going on. I get you. I got you. Um. So I just got off of work and trying to figure out what I was gonna do. Um, and then I got a message from my one of my colleagues advising me about this Biden thing. Says I need to go ahead and look into it a little bit more, dive a little deeper, if you will. So what I'm going to do here is not go off emotion, but as you know, we're real talk, real people. We study and show ourselves approved. So we're going to go off of facts. So I'm going to pull up a couple articles, um, and I'm going to play some audio. Fair use, fair use, fair use. That's why you see the banner at the bottom. We're going to play some audio and let's just go ahead and see something real quick, right? Well, let's see something real quick. Again, fair use. And let's go ahead and go with the play by play. Now, a couple of these articles that I'm about to bring up highlight this government mandate, vaccination mandate, these executive orders to do this. Now, let's just hear from the horse's mouth, right? I'm going to play this and let me see if this can be heard. I'm gonna have to let me unplug that. There we go. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna play this audio and audio here, and let's go ahead and share the audio. Can y'all hear this?
And hitting this country hard.
Okay.
We have the tools to combat the virus.
So what you're hearing now is President Biden unveils plan to boost COVID vaccinations and fight the Delta variant. Let's go ahead and play this audio. Let me, and I may stop it. Again, fair use, fair use.
Virus. If we can come together as a country and use those tools, if we raise our vaccination rate, protect ourselves and others with masking, expanded testing, and identify people who are infected, we can and we will turn the tide of COVID-19. So it's a lot of hard work. It's going to take some time. Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated, even though the vaccine is safe, effective, and free. All right, let's stop it there. Do we know if it's safe? Do the numbers say it's effective? Can you trust the numbers? And of course, is it free or are you paying the cost later? Well, we got Hatch here. Man, faithful Hatch. My man. Yeah, sit tight. Appreciate you. You might be confused about what is true and what is false about COVID-19.
Okay, now, what is true and what is false? The issue the issue between that, he's absolutely right about that. What is true and what is false? Do we take everything that they say is true as fact, or do we look at the censorship that has been rampant over the past year to 2 years to figure out what is true and what is not, what is being hidden, what is being left out for digestion? What do we look at?
So before I outline the new steps to fight COVID-19 that I'm going to be announcing tonight, let me give you some clear information about where we stand. First, we've made considerable progress in battling COVID-19. When I became president, About 2 million Americans are fully vaccinated. Today, over 175 million Americans have that protection. Before I took office, we hadn't ordered enough vaccine for every American. Better
Okay.
shape than it was 7 months ago.
Let's not jerk ourselves off.
I need to tell you a second fact. We're in the tough stretch, and it could last for a while. Highly contagious Delta variant that I began to warn America about back in July spread late summer like it did in other countries before us.
Okay. So there's this talk of the Delta variant, right? At this present time, there isn't just a Delta variant out. I am not a scientist, but I do quite a bit of research. In the description, you will find quite a few links to all the articles that I'm going to be discussing. And I will add this video to the source list. When it comes, and again, anything that I say, please, like I said, this is Real Talk, Real People. Study and show yourself approved. Fact check me on everything. We speak facts here. There are already multiple different variants already out. The question is, oh, yes, I got another one that I'm going to bring up. The question is, and the question becomes, what is causing all of these different variants? Is it what the government says? Is it what Biden says? Is it what all these other people are saying? These pundits are saying, is it the unvaxxed? Or is it all of these people that are getting these shots, these jabs, and within their bodies, creating different variations from different exposures? Could it be both? Could it be one or the other? Again, one must do their own research. And I'm going to pull up, in addition to this video, audio from a very brave woman that I think all of you will want to hear from. Let's continue.
While the vaccines provide strong protection for the vaccinated, we read about and hear about and we see the stories of hospitalized people on their deathbeds among the unvaccinated over the past few weeks. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Okay, full of shit. He's going to sit here and lie. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated when we can see a majority of the people that are in hospitals, more so than anything, are people that have already gotten the vaccine, the jab, and that have already been vaccinated maybe once or twice. They're still catching it. This is not a vaccine of the unvaccinated. What this is a witch hunt of the unvaccinated. Now, whether I'm pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine, you guys will never know. But one thing we do look for, the one thing we do treasure as being Americans and all those that are watching, is your rights to what's going to be put or what is put on you in your body. We fought for the freedom of choice. We're not here to divide the nation. We're here to bring it together. But when you look at the sensationalized news, you see this ever-present effort to divide people. Let's see. I don't know. I was at Brandon Hospital a lot the last month, and the majority of patients with COVID symptoms were not vaccinated. That's in that particular hospital. And again, these are case-by-case basis. But this is what they're saying. There's also been this kind of push to say that people that aren't vaccinated shouldn't be allowed or helped in the hospital. I don't have any comment on that. I think if you go to the hospital, you need to be helped. But also, I don't think that if you do go to the hospital and you haven't been vaccinated, if the treatment for the unvaccinated person is something that is what they're against, i.e., if you're not getting the vaccine because you don't trust it, then why would you trust the experimental treatment for it? You see what I'm saying? That's a bit disingenuous. That's a bit hypocritical. So I think there's merit on both sides, but everybody deserves a choice. And to pretty much try to demonize anyone that has chosen not to get a vaccine that they don't trust, that I have not seen an insert of all the ingredients within this. And again, we're looking at the science of this. Is not your normal vaccine. This is not. This is a mRNA based vaccine. A majority of them, the Pfizer, Moderna, the Johnson Johnson, you pick it, you name it. This is the type of therapy. This is different. These were emergency use until about a month ago or a couple weeks ago. Let's continue.
And it's caused by the fact that despite America having unprecedented and successful vaccination program, despite the fact that for almost 5 months, free vaccines have been available in 80,000 different locations, we still have nearly 80 million Americans who have failed to get the shot. To make matters worse,
look at this language. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and 80 million Americans. I think there's more USA Americans, unless they're not counting children. But even now, they're talking about vaccinating children and those that have those underlying preconditions that it may be dangerous for. 80 million Americans have failed to get vaccinated. Interesting language.
there are elected officials actively working to undermine the fight against COVID-19.
Talking about Ron DeSantis and others.
Instead of encouraging people to get vaccinated and mask up, they're ordering mobile morgues for the unvaccinated dying from COVID in their communities. This is totally unacceptable. Third, if you wonder how all this adds up, here's the math. The vast majority of Americans are doing the right thing. Nearly 3/4 of the eligible have gotten at least one shot, but 1/4 has not gotten any. That's nearly 80 million Americans not vaccinated. And a country as large as ours, that's 25% minority. That 25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are.
Okay. All right. You got to listen. Okay. So here, let's discuss that. Let's break that down. So 80 million Americans have not gotten any shot. Now they're talking about vaccinating against getting the vax. Now the Delta variant is not the first, not the second, but my understanding, the third or fourth different variant out there, the newest variant. Okay. If you're getting the Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, those are vaccines for the first variant that was ever present out. Let's even give them the credit, the most prevalent variant in America. That's not the Delta variant. Like Steve Beard said, hey, Joe Biden, you might want to look at the 14th Amendment, Equal Protection Clause. Watch your mandate flush down the toilet. Steve, let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens. Let's definitely see. But let's just look at that. So if you're expected to get a jab for the Delta variant, and the jab that's currently out is for a variant 1 or 2 generations before it, then conceivably these vaccine companies, these drug companies, are going to have you chasing getting vaccines per variant that comes out. So if we're already talking about Lambda a couple of weeks ago, a person that's actually getting these injections, getting these vaccines, has about 2 more injections they need, or quote unquote boosters, as they like to call them. When does this end? When does this end? Let's see here. Dante Black. I noticed certain news sources that have X amount of funding push notions that 90% of hospitals are unvaxxed, when neutral, no political affiliation news sources show 60-40. I would agree, Dante. I've seen that as well. And just from what I'm seeing, I believe it's close to the 60-40, my understanding. But of course, if you look at CNN and MSNBC, all these other outlets, you definitely see the slant. You see the political slant, right? So that's a very good point. So you're going to have people taking all these different boosters. Again, Pfizer is the only one that has the actual, it ends when COVID ends. It ends when COVID ends. Okay. It ends when COVID ends. Let's assume COVID doesn't end. Let's assume COVID lasts for the next 5 years. And you've gotten people used to taking vaccines, mRNA-based vaccines, for the next 5 years. Yet we don't know the full effects and long-term effects of how this is going to affect people. It would be one thing, Hatch, if we took away the vaccine protections that these companies like Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson have, so where you can be sued if you start your biology changes, if you start becoming allergic to things you weren't allergic. If there are any side effects, the companies should be responsible. You should be able to sue or at least have your case looked at in the court of law. I'm fine. Let's say, hey, let's go with these vaccines. That's fine. But give me the right to have my day in court. At this current time, you cannot sue these companies. They are protected. So remove that protection, and then we'll talk. Steve Beard, can you imagine the cost to employers trying to manage this nightmare? If I had 101 employees, I'd be laying off 2. And that's the other thing. This was actually what's genius about this, Beard. What's genius about this is by putting in a mandate like this, before they were hoping that the businesses would go ahead and take the L, go ahead and take the brunt of the dissatisfaction from the customers. Absolutely. That's what they're hoping. That's what they want. But when, like Biden said, 80% of Americans haven't even got one shot, they're not afraid enough. So you got to go for the pockets. You got to go for the money. You got to hinder their ability to make money. Hit them in the pocket. I'll let you guys kind of go ahead and go in the chat there. Let's continue with Biden. Oh, and I'm sorry, the minority bit. We're not going to blame minorities, quote unquote, ethnic minorities, for being unvaccinated, COVID variants, and things of that nature. We're not going to do that. Okay? Let's take African Americans, for example. There's a very long and documented history of malpractice, maltreatment of Black Americans and others when it comes to testing by government bodies, as well as the medical community. So if anyone has the basis for not trusting the government on these certain things, it's them. But what are you going to do? Demonize the communities? You're going to put the unvaxxed versus the vax? Are we going to allow segregation, Joe? Are we going to allow demonization of ethnic groups? Doesn't matter what color you are. Racism's over. It's about vax or non-vax. Interesting.
The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer. And fourth, I want to emphasize that the vaccines provide very strong protection from severe illness from COVID-19. I know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation, but the world's leading scientists confirm that if you are fully vaccinated, your risk of severe illness from COVID-19 is very low. In fact, based on available data from the summer, only 1 out of every 160,000 fully vaccinated Americans was hospitalized for COVID per day. These are the facts. So here's where we stand. The path ahead, even with the Delta variant, is not nearly as bad as last winter. But what makes it incredibly more frustrating is that we have the tools to combat COVID-19, and a distinct minority of Americans, supported by a distinct minority of elected officials, are keeping us from turning the corner.
Who's he talking about? Is he talking about Republicans? Is he talking about anti-vaxxing? Is he talking about the right? Is he talking about ethnic minorities? Interesting language.
These pandemic politics that I refer to are making people sick, causing unvaccinated people to die. We cannot allow these actions to stand in the way of protecting the large majority of Americans who have done their part, who want to get back to life as normal. As your president, I'm announcing tonight a new plan to require more Americans to be vaccinated to combat those blocking public health. My plan also increases testing, protects our economy, and will make our kids safer in schools. It consists of 6 broad areas of action and many specific measures in each of those actions you can read more about in whitehouse.gov. Whitehouse.gov. The measures, these are going to take time to have full impact. But if we implement them, I believe, and the scientists indicate, that the months ahead we can reduce the number of unvaccinated Americans, decrease hospitalizations and deaths, and allow our children to go to school safely and keep our economy strong by keeping businesses open. First, we must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements. With nearly 80 million
Here we go.
eligible Americans who have not gotten vaccinated, many said they were waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. Well, last month, the FDA granted that approval. So the time for waiting is over. This summer, we made progress through the combination of vaccine requirements and incentives, as well as the FDA approval. 4 million more people got their first shot in August than they did in July. But we need to do more. This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Really? Okay. All right, Joe.
It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the people you work with, the people you care about, the
Don't worry, we're going to get that addressed.
people you love. My job as president is to protect all Americans. So tonight, I'm announcing that the Department of Labor is developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated or show a negative test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already.
Okay, let's run that back real quick.
It's developing an emergency rule to require all employers with 100 or more employees that together employ over 80 million workers to ensure their workforces are fully vaccinated.
Okay. All right, let's break that down. Because what that portends is all employers. Now, initially, I thought that was just government employees, right, or government contracted employees. This man said all employers. Let's look at all employers. Let's see here, all employers. So, of course, we don't just go off of this. We pull up the facts here, So let's look at whitehouse.gov. Exactly what he said, requiring all employers with 100 plus employees to ensure their workers are vaccinated or tested weekly. I wonder what happens with at-home employees. Interesting. Work from home employees. The Department of Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, is developing a rule that will require all employers with 100 or more employees to ensure their workforce is fully vaccinated, or require any workers who remain unvaccinated to produce a negative test result on at least a weekly basis before coming to work. OSHA will issue Emergency Temporary Standard ETS to implement this requirement. This requirement will impact over 80 million workers in private sector businesses with 100 and plus employees. Steve Beard's going in. I need time every week to take my COVID test purchase. Yeah, they're going to have to account for that, but there's money allocated for that. New World Order B system will be the new social credit system. Watch what's next. Dante said, with this petition for $2K a month and $1K for children, I can see them improving this. Exactly. That universal basic income, the UBI, I believe is pivotal to making this stick. Absolutely. Dante's on it. All right. So, I mean, that's very wide reaching. That's Amazon. That's any place that you have to go into the workplace. So if you are not a work at home employee, I don't believe that if you're not working in the office, I think you're fine. But if you're working in the office, this is going to touch you. Okay? It's going to touch you. So just be prepared. Be prepared for that. It's going to touch you. Let's give it back to Joe.
Or show a negative test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already requiring this. United Airlines, Disney, Tyson's Food, and even Fox News. The bottom line, we're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers. We're going to reduce the spread.
Okay. We're going to protect vaccinated coworkers from unvaccinated coworkers. Okay. That's what we're going to do. See, the people that got the vaccine, that are protected by the vaccine and won't die from the vaccine, we're going to protect those people from the unvaccinated. Let's run that back. Y'all heard that right.
And even Fox News test at least once a week. Some of the biggest companies are already requiring this. United Airlines, Disney, Tyson's Food, and even Fox News. The bottom line, we're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers.
Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't we be protecting the unvaccinated workers from the vaccinated coworkers, since they're fine and they're going to be okay, but they can also carry the bug? Because, these are the majority, 90% of the people that are dying in hospitals, right? So shouldn't it be the other way around? I don't know. I don't know. What do I know, right?
We're going to reduce the spread of COVID-19 by increasing the share of the workforce that is vaccinated in businesses all across America. My plan will extend the vaccination requirements that I previously issued in the healthcare field. Already, I've announced we'll be requiring vaccinations of all nursing home workers who treat patients on Medicare and Medicaid, because I have that federal authority. Tonight, I'm using that same authority to expand that to cover those who work in hospitals, home health care facilities, or other medical facilities. A total of 17 million healthcare workers. If you're seeking care at a health facility, you should be able to know that the people treating you are vaccinated. Simple, straightforward, period. Next, I will sign.
Hatch said, I don't want someone with COVID and not vaccinated giving it to me so I can give it to my 98-year-old G-Pop. Now, your grandpa is awesome. Not even going to front. When it comes to the elderly, I can get that. I can certainly understand that they are more at risk. Their immune systems may not be able to fight it. I can understand the elderly, right? And I think maybe if there was a cause to separate people, it would have been the elderly. But when you're talking about anybody, that gets a little different. So when he talks about home health workers, you're looking at your CNAs, your people, your hospice work. Well, of course, hospice workers, but just about anybody, right? So this is wide reaching. I definitely think it's more than 17 million people.
An executive order that will now require all executive branch federal employees to be vaccinated. All. And I've signed another executive order that will require federal contractors to do the same. If you want to work with the federal government and do business with us, get vaccinated.
Overreach like a mug. He's tripping. Let's take a look. Requiring COVID-19 C-19 vaccination for over 17 million healthcare workers, which is what you just heard him say. Let's see here. The Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, is taking action to require C-19 vaccines for workers in most healthcare settings that receive Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, including but not limited to hospitals, dialysis, ambulatory surgical settings, home health agencies. These actions build the vaccination required for nursing facilities recently announced by CMS and regulated settings. Not involve direct patients, residents, client care. Wow, this is really expanding. Requirements will apply approximately 50,000 providers and cover a majority of healthcare workers across the country. Some facilities and states have begun to adopt hospital staff or healthcare sector vaccination mandates. This action will create a consistent standard across the country, giving patients assurance of the vaccination status of delivering care. That's it. Okay. And then he said, "Oh, yeah, that's coming. Let's let him hear it. Let's hear it." I understand that sentiment, but if someone has COVID and has been vaccinated or has not, it doesn't change how the virus acts when it goes into your body or your grandpa's. The virus doesn't change. I would agree. Yeah, and we'll actually hear from an expert on that after we hear from Biden.
You want to do business with the federal government? Vaccinate your workforce.
Now, I will say this. I've spoken to a lot of armed service members, and they are not thrilled with this. A lot of armed service members, those in the Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines, just to name a few, they don't want this. I've spoken to a lot of nurses, and I'll have to bring some of those interviews on here. I've spoken to a lot of nurses, a lot of healthcare professionals that do not want to be forced to get this vaccine. It's interesting. They don't mind giving the vaccine to others, but they don't want to be forced to have to do it themselves. Makes you wonder a little bit. But yes, I mean, that's the crux of all this. Hold on, we got a retort. Correct, Dante. But having the vaccine and those antibodies gives better odds than those that don't. Now, to Hatch's credit, I will say it says that and this is what's crazy. If you get the CV, or if you get the bug and survive it, then those antibodies last considerably longer because they're natural than whatever the CV forces the body to make by adding your body's ability to make a new spike protein that doesn't naturally occur. So, to his credit, I'm sure they're not thrilled about a lot of things lately. Clearly, yeah. I don't believe it should be a government mandate. I don't believe in that either. I like the idea of it, but it shouldn't be mandated by the government. I agree. Hey, be ready for this. Insurance companies are going to raise your monthly premium $100, $200 per month if you don't have the jab. We're very close to something described in Revelations. Yeah, people, if you read your Bibles, read your Bibles. I know I know a lot of things seem fantastical, but read your Bibles, y'all. Is it self-fulfilling prophecy or prophecy alone? He's going through the U.S. defense options for mandates. Yes, absolutely. And we'll go over some articles. I got some sources that indicate what those are. Okay. I'll let y'all talk amongst yourselves.
Tonight, I'm removing one of the last remaining obstacles that make it difficult for you to get vaccinated. The Department of Labor will require employers with 100 or more workers to give those workers paid time off to get vaccinated. No one should lose pay in order to get vaccinated or take a loved one to get vaccinated. Today, in total, the vaccine requirements in my plan will affect about 100 million Americans, 2/3 of all workers. And for other sectors, I issue this appeal to those of you running large entertainment venues, from sports arenas, to concert venues, to movie theaters. Please require folks to get vaccinated or show a negative test as a condition of entry. And to the nation's family physicians, pediatricians, GPs, general practitioners.
Now, he said that like it was a request. But let's go on the website. Calling on large entertainment venues, so calling, not requiring, calling on all venues to require proof of vaccination or testing for entry. Sir, where are your papers? Let us see your papers, sir. I've never actually seen that, but we know what the deal is with that. Let me see them papers. Come up off them papers. So you going to what is it? The EDM, Electric Forest. What's EDM concert? You're gonna see Cat Williams. You're going to see Maroon 5. You know, whoever. You're going to that Bucks game. You want to see Brady. You want to go to a concert, Philharmonic, Broadway. Show them papers. Here's some free game. Get into the vaccine card carrying case game. A lot of money to be made. Or show negative tests. And, people wouldn't trip on those COVID tests if they weren't so intrusive and if they didn't, fucking go to your brain, go into your fucking brain matter in your nasal cavity. Now, he did say requiring employers to provide paid time off to get vaccinated. So they're like, we're paying. No excuses. No excuses. This is about done with Biden.
The most trusted medical voice to your patients. You may be the one person who can get someone to change their mind about being vaccinated. Tonight, I'm asking each of you to reach out to your unvaccinated patients over the next 2 weeks and make a personal appeal to them to get the shot. America needs your personal involvement in this critical effort. My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine is FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Oh my! What? Whoa! Dude, hey, calm down, bud. God damn. Whoa, let's play that again. See? Wow.
200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot. We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing. But just don't take it from me. Listen to the voices of unvaccinated Americans who are lying in hospital beds, taking their final breath saying, if only I'd gotten vaccinated. If only. It's a tragedy. Please don't let it become yours. The second piece of my plan is continuing to protect the vaccinated.
Interesting. We're going to stop it there. I'm going to make sure I put this video so you guys can go ahead and watch it in its totality. But we brought up the White House action plan. That's really all you need to know. Everything you said there is in whitehouse.gov. I'll put this in the link in the descriptions as well. But there you have it. Boosters. Biden sounds like that monster in Germany during World War II. Yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta say it was rather chilling. Rather chilling. Rather chilling. Honestly, how many companies are going to go through weekly COVID testing? How long will they deal with that? Pushing for inconvenience and resulting to tapping out. Well, yeah, and that's a good point, Mr. Street. I'm not sure if we're going to see that. Weekly testing is a huge expense. Having to delegate an individual to handle it, that could be an entire job on its own. Absolutely. So the logistics of this are still waiting to be seen. But you got to remember, I think it was in the last stimulus bill that was passed, they already have the money for this. It was either the first stimulus bill or the second one that passed. The money's already been allocated for this, for people coming to your home, people, additional testing, additional resources. So, this has been planned, right? So I'm going to play one more. Actually, let's go over some articles we have here. And then I'm going to play one very special video from Miss Christina Parks. I'm not sure if you guys know who Christina Parks is, but she's going to say some things that may make a bit of sense. Make your own mind up. Biden announces COVID-19 vaccine mandates that will affect 100 million Americans. Yes, we just went over all that. It's pretty much a transcript of what we just watched. The 6 pillars are vaccinating the unvaccinated, furthering protection for the unvaccinated. Seem like demonizing the unvaccinated to me. Keeping schools safely open, increasing testing, requiring masking, improving the care of those with COVID-19. The president started out his speech by saying he knows many are frustrated with 25% of adults in the U.S. and yet had to have a single dose. That 25% can do a lot of damage. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, that's that. We heard from the horse's mouth. That's already in the description. Let's look here. Biden's authority to mandate vaccines stems from the law protecting workers from grave dangers. So I think earlier in the comments, someone said something about a previous older law. And let's take a look at this. Let me make that bigger too. White House officials believe the law is a legitimate and legal way to combat the pandemic through the acknowledge it has never been used to require vaccines. They're getting really creative now, aren't they? President Biden's far-reaching assertion of presidential authority to require vaccines for 80 million American workers relies on the first-of-its-kind application of a 51-year-old law that grants the federal government the power to protect employees from grave dangers at the workplace. White House officials believe that the emergency authority provided by the Congress under the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970 is a legitimate and legal way to combat the coronavirus pandemic, but they acknowledge that the law's emergency provisions, which were employed in previous decades to protect workers from asbestos and other industrial dangers, has never been used to require a vaccine. The novelty of the effort is at heart illegal threats from Republican lawmakers, governors, pundits, and others, and many whom vowed on Thursday to challenge the president's use of the workplace rules. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, called Mr. Biden's actions utterly lawless. That's my Ted Cruz. And Gov. Brian Kemp, Republican of Georgia, said the move is blatantly unlawful, and Georgia will not stand for it. In a fundraising email sent on Friday, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, a Republican who has issued anti-mask orders, wrote, Joe Biden has declared war on constitutional government and the rule of law and the jobs and livelihood of millions of Americans. Facts. Hey, he's crazy, but I can't disagree with that. But top aides to the president do not appear to be shaken by what they say was an expected response from those quarters. At a middle school in Washington on Friday morning, Mr. Biden responded to the threats of lawsuits from his adversaries. Have at it, he said. Okay, and an expert said that administration appeared to be on a strong legal ground because it was relying on existing authority granted to the Occupational Safety Health Administration by a legislative branch and supported by decades of judicial rulings. And that's why you got to be very careful what becomes law. And when certain emergency powers and provisions are added to specific branches, you got to rescind those. If you look at wartime powers acts, presidents, Congress, a lot of these people have a lot more power than they normally should. So, when you take a genie out of a bottle, you got to have a way to put it back, or else you have situations like this. I think power should only be authorized to use when it's needed. But that's just my personal opinion. The OSHA Act gives employees a right to a safe and healthy workplace. But doesn't the OSHA Act also give us the right for protection against people knowing our medical history and status? So how is OSHA protecting our right to safe and healthy workplace whilst making us it okay for us to wear vaccination cards and talk about our medical history and status with people we shop with, our employers, and so on and so forth? Make that make sense. This is the hypocritical, in my opinion. Being exposed to potentially deadly virus is neither safe nor healthy. That's facts. So OSHA would have that authority. Mr. Biden calls to use the authority with sharp shift in tone and approach, flinging aside the caution that was characterized his administration earlier, tacked towards vaccine mandates. And the president said he will use OSHA rules to require vaccines for as many as 80 million workers. Interesting. Okay. So that's an article that's in the White House defends Fauci from new attacks over China grants. This is a whole other can of worms with Fauci, man, and the complicit nature of or potential. Well, I don't even know if it's potential. The complicit nature of the United States government, or at least Fauci, with the start of this whole thing. Man, do we want to put these together? Yeah, the Freedom of Information Act. Well, let's just read a little bit because I think it's important as well. White House defends Fauci from new attacks over China grants. Yahoo News. The White House said Thursday it stood by Anthony Fauci, the top medical advisor of President Biden, who had faced the renewed attacks this week from conservatives over the extent of which U.S. biomedical establishment funded potentially dangerous research into the bat coronavirus in Chinese laboratories. Asked on Thursday by Fox News reporter asked Fauci's job was safe despite new revelations, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki responded curtly with a single word: correct. Fauci was previously said that the National Institute of Health and National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, which he's a longtime head, did not allow Chinese laboratories to conduct gain-of-function research through American grants. Some people believe that such research, which boosted viruses in order to study their behavior, led to the creation of a pathogen of SARS-CoV-2 at the Wuhan Institute of Virology or another laboratory sometime in late 2019. For those that don't know about the CRISPR program, CRISPRs are pretty much used to make infectious diseases and, again, boost these diseases. They're used to study them, but they can also be used to make something quite nasty. The CRISPR program, I think, was supposedly done away with under the Obama administration, but was either restarted under Trump or something like that, or maybe it's vice versa. Got to look that up. Let's see here. The focus on Fauci this week is related to documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act request and published by the investigative news site The Intercept. The documents include details of a $3.1 million 2014 grant to EcoHealth Alliance, New York-based organization that has been the focus of intense scrutiny over its close partnership with China because of the ardent rejections of the chief executive, Peter Daszak, of any suggestion that a scientific accident there may have caused the pandemic. Eco Health Alliance used almost 600,000 of the 3.1 million grant to fund a study into bat coronavirus at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was itself been the focus of both conspiratorial and legitimate questions. Researchers there worked on a strain of coronavirus called WIV1, according to The Intercept. So you can read more on that, there's a bit more to this than meets the eye. Robots in disguise. Facts. The GOP governor's pledge to sue Biden over the vaccine mandate, so we already discussed that. All right, and then what we'll do is I'm going to play this from Christina Parks. This is very interesting. And I think you guys will find it interesting as well.
Fine, you're here in person. Welcome, Dr. Parks. And if you want, as you get settled, just push that little red button at the bottom of the microphone when you're ready and take it away. Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from the University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA, gene therapy, vaccines, this kind of technology, as well as what a vaccine is designed to do in the body, what it can do, what it can't do. And the fact that this is extremely complex science that has been oversimplified in the media to basically take away our freedom of choice. What I want to address today in this limited time is the fact that vaccine requirements and mandates are based on the faulty assumption that the vaccines in question prevent transmission of the pathogen, right? Does the vaccine for DTaP prevent transmission? No. Does the vaccine for flu prevent transmission? No. Do the vaccines for COVID prevent transmission? No. In fact, they were never designed to do that. All right, so you're asking, what about this 95% effectiveness? If you look at those clinical trials, they do not say that they prevent transmission. They expressly say that they're measuring whether they attenuate symptoms. So they're 95% effective based on their clinical trials at attenuating symptoms for the first variant, which is essentially gone in.
Okay, what did I say earlier? That we're chasing a boogeyman. We're chasing different strains. These vaccines were made for the first strain or the second strain. You see how they're trying to meld it all together? If it took, I don't know, if we use even what's the term? I forgot the term, but since we have a base model, it's not going to maybe take 2 years or whatever to make a vaccine for the Delta variant, but you're going to have at least a couple months to a year. So you're chasing your tail here. What did she say? These were never designed to keep you from getting it. These aren't there to keep you from getting it. They're there to tamp down the symptoms. They're there to keep you from essentially dying per their clinical trials. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that. That's interesting. But let's let the good doctor speak.
Our population. Right now, the predominant variant is a Delta, and CDC Director Walensky basically said that these vaccines have no ability to prevent infection by and transmission of the Delta variant. So our policy needs not to be built on the hope of what we think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No. They've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood. It's infecting your mucosa, and you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it.
Okay, that's very important. That's very important. I'm going to let her say that again. The mucosa.
Think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No. They've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood. It's infecting your mucosa, and you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it. In fact, recent studies have shown that the vaccinated, especially with the Delta variant, and the unvaccinated have similar amounts of virus in their nose and throat.
And now, what did someone say in the earlier here? Someone said earlier in the chat that depending on which political leaning, here we go, I'll pull it up. I noticed in certain news sources that the X amount of funding pushed the notion that 90% of hospitalized or unvaxxed or neutral to no political affiliation. News sources show 60 to 40. What she just said is closer to the reality based off the numbers than what's being pushed by the media. Hey, Dante, you've been validated. Okay.
In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated. All right, so maybe they're mandating this because they just didn't know with the COVID. And so my main complaint is with our health agencies and the CDC, who basically know better and are misleading the public. So let's look at DTaP, which the scientists and the CDC have known since 2014 that the acellular pertussis vaccine does not prevent people from getting infected with the pertussis bacteria and passing it to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives, all right? I'm not going to debate that. But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens is fully vaccinated children go to daycare, they pick up that bacteria, and they come home and they give it to their newborn brother or sister. They get deathly ill, and they go to the hospital. Hopefully, our medical professionals are able to save them. But who do they blame? Now the CDC is blaming anti-vaxxers for the limitations of this vaccine design. I suggest...
Okay, you listen there. This is the slant. You heard Biden say it out of his own mouth. They're trying to blame the anti-vaxxers for the limitations of the vaccine.
That's that they be transparent and tell parents that although it is preventing severe disease in their children, it is not preventing transmission because we have created a whole class of asymptomatic pertussis carriers who are increasing the disease. Now, the old DTP vaccine that many of you who are my age or older got did prevent transmission. When we switched to the safer acellular version, they knew that it was never designed to prevent transmission. It was safer, it had less adverse events, but pertussis cases have gone through the roof. There's a resurgence in pertussis because of the design of the vaccine, and the vaccinologists know this. They're trying to address it, and so we cannot mandate that something that does not prevent transmission.
Okay. So basically, I don't want you guys to get lost in that. I know you're all very intelligent individuals, but let's just break that down again. What she's saying in very simple terms for those that just don't get it is that the way that these vaccines work, they used to be able to get polio vaccine and that's it. You get, smallpox vaccine, that was it. These vaccines were created to keep you from getting it again. And that's how they were able to eliminate. These newer vaccines, the acellular vaccines, as they're indicating, are used. They're not designed to keep you from getting it. They're just designed to lower the the damage. Well, I don't even want to say lower the damage, help you better sustain the effects. So that's very important. Steve Beard said, I think I'll be taking my daily dose of vitamin C and D3 with zinc. Zinc's great for you. And that sun vitamin D is good. If you're not going to take the jab, you should think about taking. I agree. I agree. He's not a doctor, but these are just friendly suggestions. And yeah, I definitely think it's worth doing. Maybe if I open the panel up, I'll let you guys know what I do. But there's tons of different things you can do. Again, these are just suggestions. No one's a medical professional here. No one's suggesting someone take anything. These are just suggestions. You gotta be careful like that. They like to shut shit down when you tell them the truth.
All right, what about the flu vaccine? Well, they have shown that basically there's no difference, there's no statistical difference if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, whether you get the flu or not. But it's even worse because although that first year it is somewhat effective, it's about 55% effective at preventing symptoms in you, after that, it actually has negative efficacy. And I want to address this because it's very important. Vaccines are made to a specific variant. And when that variant mutates, the vaccine no longer recognizes it. And so it's like you're seeing a completely new virus. And because that's so, you actually get more severe symptoms when you're vaccinated against one variant, and then it mutates, and then your body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children.
Okay. All right. Pretty clear. So by her, again, she's giving these examples through history and showing how vaccines work, how they're intended to work, and the difference between what we had back then and what we have now. What she merely highlighted, haven't you guys heard about a couple years back, 10 years ago, super bugs, antibiotic resistant bugs? You hear these different things about these vaccines. They have to keep making vaccine to vaccine, strain after strain, to combat these new strains because they're evolving. They're getting smarter. We got to use more effective vaccines, more effective antibiotics to fight these super bugs that are evolving. It's the same exact thing. She's basically saying when you take these vaccines, your body's going to mutate the vaccine. It's going to mutate what you have in you if you catch this. And then you give it to somebody else who is not vaccinated against your particular mutation. You're remixing it, okay? You're remixing it. That person that got the vaccine for not the Delta variant, but for the first one, is not prepared to take on your remixed version of whatever strain you get. Doesn't fucking matter. Exactly. And that's why there's different flu vaccines. Absolutely. But again, you're chasing your tail. You're chasing your tail.
We're seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant. And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine that could actually make them more sick when they're exposed to the virus. In fact, this week, a paper came out, and what it showed is that with this Delta variant, when you're vaccinated, your body makes antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus, but they were supposed to neutralize the old variant. Right. When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells. All right, that science was just published this week. We need to be looking at the science, and we need our policy to reflect the science, and we also need it to reflect our rights.
Okay, so she said that very clearly. She's a scientist, okay? She's a biomedical or molecular biologist, whatever. She understands how these things work, right? It's very, I hate to say it like it's so simple, but it is. You want to make decisions not based off of fear, but off of the science. If we're going to go away from God, if we're going to go away from all this stuff, if we're going to truly be secular, well, let's not be secular from a fear standpoint of view, let's actually use data. Let's use actual science. Let's use critical thinking, and let's make policies that reflect what the science is. See, the science is supposed to be the new truth, contrary to popular belief. So there is no room for fear in science. There's room to be ethical, maybe not even moral, but ethical within it. And it has to reflect the laws of where the science is being created. Look at China. China maybe doesn't have, certainly not the moral, but the ethical boundaries that we have. So they may have other variants, other things, clones, hybrids, all these other things that we would never do. But we have to have these things reflect our values as Americans, as well as the science. It's very simple.
And so, as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper.
Oh,
As
shit.
an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work this hard. I come up from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? Right? So I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States of America? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parks. Eloquent, absolutely summed it up perfectly. This woman's a national treasure. You can't say she was emotional. She commanded the facts. She gave it. Oh, you want me to replay that? Yeah, that was powerful. That was powerful. I'll
We
replay
shredded
it.
data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work this hard. I come up from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? Right. So I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States of America? Thank you.
Okay. I thought that was pivotal to play for you guys after Biden talked his shit. This doesn't just affect African Americans, but as we can see, this is a trickle-down effect that there's a term that's used in the Black community. When I guess the term is when white folks get a cold, Black folks get pneumonia. Now, for those that know, they know. Yeah, they didn't broadcast it. Oh yeah, definitely. She did. Now that's an elder. She needs to be protected. Absolutely, Mr. Street. She needs to be protected. First, Steve Beard. First time I heard of this House Bill 4471. Thank you for sharing. I will be researching this more. Absolutely, I'm going to research this more. It's crazy. Leonard D. Yuda, Jim Crow Joe wants his dead. Man, yeah, you thought him and Kamala were doing something crazy with that crime bill. This is gonna have Black folks in a real bad way, and others. That's the whole point. So that's pretty much all I had for. I wanted you guys to, and this is for all teachers, of course. So, like she said, are we going to exclude African Americans or anybody that doesn't want to get vaxxed from becoming teachers and in the healthcare field? Imagine being a nursing student right now and realize, damn, I'm doing clinicals or whatever, and you don't want to get vaccinated. Hey, appreciate that. I try to bring the facts, bro. Like I said, all sources are going to be in the description. You know how I do. And shout out to this person, Steve Culver. Maybe I don't know him. Give him a subscribe. Shout out to Steve Culver for reposting this. Salute. Back to work for me. Hey, I'm with you. Appreciate you, Mr. Beard. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know I've been going for a while, but I'm about to give it to their ass. So at this point, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys this. If you guys want, I could bring up I can start a panel. If you guys have anything to say, I'll do a real short panel. Give me your thoughts, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, I'll shut it down. I'm gonna trust you guys. I'm gonna put the link. I'm going to put a link in the chat. I'm going to need you to, again, no funny business. I don't want to have to take this down because people troll. People really be trolling. No copyright music, no nudity, no nothing like that. I'm scared. But don't screw me, y'all. But I would definitely love to hear from you guys on this. Let's see here. Just want Mr. Street. Just want to say something. All right, Mr. Street. Tell you what, do me a favor, Mr. Street. Go ahead and send me an email, Mr. Street. Send me an email. I'm going to put my email in the chat. Send me an email, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and send you the link specifically. Let's do that. That's how I protect myself. That's how I protect the stream, and we'll all be good from there. So this is my email. Hold on. Let me go ahead and pin that. That is go ahead and email me real quick, and I'll go ahead and send you the link. We want to keep this thing up. We want to definitely share it as much as possible because I wanted to provide both parallels there for you guys. Because it's like that. It's truly like that. All right, cool. Hey, yes, if anyone else wants to come up on the panel and discuss, like I said, shoot me an email and we'll go ahead and get you vetted and get you on here. But I'm just, man, that's just crazy to me. And it's honestly it's something I've been talking about for a while. Everybody wants to call me while I'm on live. Come on, y'all. Come on. Get it together. Get it together. All right, I don't see your email, bruh. I don't see it. Mr. Street, unfortunately, I don't see it. So, I'll give you a little time for it, though, but I don't see your email. So we can vet you. Oh, Dante Black. Oh, that's my dog. I didn't realize Dante was my boy on there. Man, Dante, I'm going to have to get Dante on the stream, man. He was killing it. You know what? I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to take a risk. Anybody wants to come on, here you go. Don't make me regret it. Come on in. And we'll have to verify before I pull you on. But I'm really interested to see what you got. I got some technical issues, crazy stuff now. Well, hey, Mr. Street, they want to hide the truth, man. That's too much truth for him, Mr. Mr. Street. You too real for him. Come on, man. You know what it is. You know what it is. But man, what a situation that we find ourselves in. I'm curious. I wonder what you guys, obviously it's none of my business. And honestly, I don't want you guys to even say if you're vaccinated or going to get vaccinated or not. It's completely your business. But I would love to have some sort of like advice for the people listening and people that are going to listen. What do you do? Do you become an entrepreneur? Do you try to reskill real quick? Hit up Udemy? Like what? Do you try to find the most private sector job possible? Do you become your own boss? Do you go off the grid? Do you learn how to, do you just, I don't know. This is where the rubber really meets the road, honestly. A rather interesting situation. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, anybody that's coming in stream, feel free to come on the panel. We're just going to discuss this a bit. We're going to discuss it a bit. Want to hear from you guys. Want to get a better understanding of how you guys felt about the information, and so on and so forth. I know me personally, I'm going to be learning some new skills. There's a lot of interesting things you can, get and buy, and like I said, Udemy. They're always running deals on Udemy, always. So Udemy's like a really, really good place to start searching for stuff and like getting stuff, learning skills for really cheap too. A lot of them will teach you everything you need to know. YouTube's a great resource to learn different things, new things, so on and so forth. Let me see. I'll check my email. Yeah. Sure. All right. All right. It's okay. All right. Let's see. Trollphobic 216. Hopefully, Mr. Street. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's go bring you on. Hit that link, bruh. Hit that link, bruh. All right, we're waiting for Mr. Street to get in. But yeah, Udemy, YouTube, you got to be able to use your resources. You know, we got to think about it. We live in a time where we have smart computers in our hands, in our pockets. Yeah, some of us use it for enjoyment of all kinds. Some use it to veg out. Some use it to turn our brains off. But, you know, information, the ability to critically think and learn has never been easier. There's never been an easier time to do so. So I definitely suggest getting on that. Sometimes Humble Bundle's another good place to get some stuff. Humble Bundle, let me see here. Humble Bundle. There you go, Humble Bundle. I bought some stuff. Let's see here. Udemy. Look at me, I'm already trying. I'm trying. Udemy. What's another good one? I think there's one called Skillsoft. Oh, you need honey too, man, if you don't got it. But yeah, like categories, you can learn anything. Web development, mobile development, game development, design, marketing, lifestyle, advertising, esoteric practice, food, beverages, home improvement, pet care. Anything you want to learn, anything that you thought about going to college for or not going to college, it's great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dante knows. Believe Dante. It's really great. O'Reilly books going on, Sarah. Yeah, O'Reilly. O'Reilly's good. This is what he's talking about. Now, I bought some. Let me see here. I bought some decluttering for dummies. Electronic projects for dummies. I think this was the do-it-yourself home hobby. Wiley, great stuff. Auto repair for dummies. This is all stuff you need to know. Basic cooking for dummies. Wilderness survival for dummies. Woodworking, workouts. This is like the lockdown survival pack. Fermenting food for dummies. Fix everything. This is straight up knowledge. Look at this. Let's go to bundles. By the bundle. Now, of course, you can get your gaming in for sure. But back to school for the kids. Hold on, is that like the is like the Jumpstart? I used to love Jumpstart. Hold up. Pajama Sam. Yeah. Yo. Freddie Fish. Yo. Wow, that takes me back. Putt. I remember Freddie Fish. Oh, Spy Fox. Yo. Sorry, I'm nostalgia. Nostalgia's hitting me. Yo, I'm not gonna buy this, but man, $221 value for like I can get what? Okay, sorry. So for $1, you can get all 11 of these. Buzzy, I remember Buzzy. and Spy Fox and Cheese Chase. I remember that. But for $14 you're getting the whole thing and the digital art book. I just got that from a kid, bro. You shout out to you, man. You treating your kid right, man. You're treating your kid right. All right. Let me see. We got our boy in the back chat. He's waiting. Let me go ahead and send him a message here. Mr. Street was there, but he did go. Yo, you are a good dad for real. If you're a good dad, man. Like this is. I'm not saying I'm gonna get it, but I mean, I do plan on having kids, so maybe I need to go ahead and cop it. Mr. Street, check the back chat, the private chat. Rome is burning. Emperor Joe, the tyrant, is mumbling. Nixon came with the flame. Nixon Barley, he came with the flame. He's with it. I got Mr. Street in the back chat. Like I said, go ahead and cam up for me real quick, bro. And then make sure you're not a troll. And then I'll let you on. We'll discuss. Yeah, I might have to cop this for my future kid, not me. Okay. But yeah. Great. Yeah, I would say that is really cool. Unix, Linux and Unix. If you want to learn how to do design or use Linux systems, O'Reilly books, I might have to cop this. This is great. You can, I mean, these are some really good skills you can do from home. You really can't go wrong. Bash cookbook. And, you know, some people don't like digital stuff like that. But I can definitely see and understand all of this, you know. But I think there's places where you can get ebooks and stuff published like real books. So that's cool. But that's a skill to learn. At this point, guys, you're going to have to get used to trying to make money yourselves. And I know that can be daunting or sound hard or like, where do I start? But there's tons of YouTube videos you can watch about starting a business. There's notary businesses. There's a whole bunch of other things you can do where you can be your own boss. And I'm not saying you have to leave your job. If you got a job that allows you to work and you don't have to be affected by this, great. But this is also the time to be adding one or two other things to the fire. Let's see here. What did he say? What is... Let's see here. All right. But yeah, and maybe we can brainstorm on that. You know, become a cook, make some plates, Skillshare. Yeah, Skillshare is another good one that's showcase. You can just pay a monthly bundle, you know, a monthly price, I think, or you could probably pay up front. Oh, there we go. And then let's see here. Skillshare. Yeah, Skillshare is right here. And there's other like tech guided ones as well. But you don't have to go into tech if you don't want. Let me see here. Well, I don't know. Mr. Street's back in the back chat. He's having some issues. But we'll get him on. Don't worry about that. All right, but yeah, this is cool. You know, let's see, animation, design, illustration, lifestyle. Skillshare is basically like Udemy. kind of more hipstery though. And here's another thing. I'm going to put you guys in some game. This is a free game. There's websites like Fiverr. Now, no one else is going to do this because they're worried about you taking money. Let me show y'all something. If there's anything that you don't know how to do, or if there's a business you want to start and you don't know how to do it, just go on Fiverr. Let's say, hey, I want to start an app making business, or I want to start let's see here, writing translation. Let's say I want to make edit videos for people, although I probably wouldn't do, or make short ads for people, right? I don't know how to do that, but on Fiverr, for $5 or less, I will create a dropshipping video ad for you. I'll create a Facebook ad for you. I'll put an ad for your business. I'll promote you. I'll do SEO. I'll make it easy to find you on the internet. All these different things. Anything you don't know how to do, you can outsource and have it done and make money doing it. That's some expert game right there. Okay? I'm giving y'all too much. But I love y'all. But listen, wherever there's a will, there's a way. Mr. Street, I see you. I see you in the back. Private chat. I'm in. I see you. Like I say, cam up real quick so I can see you. Know you're, and he's out. See, that's why you got to be careful about who you let up. You know, you never know. He's back. Go ahead, cam up for me, bruh. Cam up for me, bruh. I know the suspense. And he's gone. I think he's just having some technical difficulty. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're looking at. So, let's see. If there's anybody that wants to come up, like I said, the link is in the chat. Otherwise, I will go ahead and end it on this one. I could probably edit off this last part too. Oh, snap. My man, Black Dante. Hey, you can either have, you can be on camera, or you don't have to be on camera. You have a choice, whatever you want. If you're cool, there you go. Yeah, whatever you want, brother. All right. So I've got Dante. Brother. Hold on. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I could hear you.
All right. My man. Guys, we got royalty here, man. We got YouTube royalty. We got Dalton in the cloud, man. Feel free to if you want to post your YouTube channel, man. This guy is the king of cloud. Now, I'm not bigging him up. Like, he helped me. Like, I was actually watching his videos, and watching his videos got me into taking and starting my AWS cloud practitioner. Legit, this is the guy. If you want to know how to succeed, this is the guy. So
that's awesome, by the way, that you actually went through of it.
Yeah, bro, man. I saw the money I can make. I saw the at-home ability. I saw the variety, and actually learning about something I use every single day. Yeah, it's baller. So, no, thank you, man.
I noticed with a lot of people, and this may help some of the people watching, a lot of it's just intimidation. Like, oh no, I can't do that. That's very difficult. Blah blah blah. Like for me, getting, for example, the CompTIA Security Plus was like the biggest intimidation for years. But after I got my first certificate, the cloud practitioner, then my solutions architect, which was a much harder certification, I thought, you know what, at this point I could get the Security Plus no problem. And I studied maybe 2 months for it, and
Yeah.
I got it just by
Man.
reading a book. One book, and I passed
Whoa.
on the first try with like I think it was like a 978 out of 1,000.
Dang.
So all it takes is just sitting down and saying, I'm going to do this today, and then just sticking with it. Same as like if you start working out or something like improvement with like your mental health, body, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to mention, you said earlier about Udemy.
Yes.
I like just I don't want to name this person because they are a family member, but there is someone I know who went to Skillshare, learned stuff, and they learned everything. They were trying to sell physical products on Etsy. They even like internshiped with like someone big in the greater Florida area.
Yeah.
And they realized like you're barely making anything with that. So they wanted to go into the digital space. They didn't know anything about digital design or anything. But they went on here, they taught themselves, and now after 2 years of like just nonstop working themselves to death, now they barely put in like maybe 16 hours of work and they make 6 figures off Etsy, off digital products.
Man.
So it's going to be difficult, but if you are just dedicated to it, you could literally know nothing about it and go and make that much money right now as a freelancer.
Yeah, and I think that is the key that people are looking at right now. If you don't want to have to be beholden to a company, if you don't want to be forced to do things that may go against your particular beliefs, ethics, morals, then freelancing is the way to go. And honestly, the business trend is kind of forecasted that's where people are going to be going. So I think you're right about that. And you're right. Skillshare. I know some of these things suck. Find something that interests you.
Mm-hmm.
Find something you think you might want to do. Try something you have no idea about. You might like it. And that's where that passion comes from. And you become good at it. And here's the best part about all that. Anything you learn and you become good at or even moderately proficient, you can teach it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a YouTuber I watch called The Future. He's kind of he's similar to Gary Vee. Like he's a marketer as well as a designer, more so on the design side. But he used to work for a company, but then he realized, as you said, you have to adhere to their standards and stuff. And it's like, if you work for a company, you go to your boss, and this is something Grant Cardone said too. The difference between working freelance and working at a job, you could go to your boss and then the next year say, oh, I want a 16% raise or like 20% if you're really good. And it's like, okay, he'll hand it to you. And you could keep doing that over and over again. But eventually he's going to say, listen, I can't pay you this much money. Like, why would I do this? Where if you're a freelancer, your self-worth, and then you could just keep getting 16%, 16%, 20% year over year.
Right.
And you're paying yourself. It doesn't matter what happens at the end of the day. If you're going to do more work and pay and have less people and you're taking all the profit, or you're going to get on more people and do less work, then but you manage that yourself.
Right.
Where if you work for a company, they have to manage all these people. Listen, I can't keep paying you 16% year over year because I have to pay all these other people too. You're not the only one on my payroll.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when you even look at it from that perspective, knowing your worth. I was watching a podcast. A shout out to Erica Williams. It was her podcast with the ladies of Linux or women of Linux. Mm-hmm. And she said, for every certification you get, add $50 an hour to what you're asking for. Now, she was talking about tech jobs. A lot of those jobs you can command 30, 40, 50, 80, 120, $150 an hour, things like that. You're right. If you know your worth, you can command it. And the beautiful thing about freelancing, the beautiful thing about being your own boss and naming your own price, every single job you do, you're going to do it to your best ability, and every single thing is going to build upon each other. You're going to have a body of work that you can be proud of, and that you know you gave your very best effort. You don't have to worry about a deadline. Well, there are deadlines, there are different things, but you don't have to worry about any of these external factors of a boss riding you, of a corporate or a company, a mission or message, a mandate from higher ups that have never done your job to begin with, but expect you to perform a certain way. There's a freedom here that a lot of people are missing. So I agree. You're right.
And it doesn't have to be Skillshare. I know you said Udemy, and a lot of people prefer Udemy as a platform because they trust it more. It's been around a lot longer. But you could literally type in Udemy. You could type in freelance and see like kind of the ideas of what are available options out there for what people are teaching in freelance. And then you could do a Google search on it and see, actually how many jobs are there for photo design freelancer, web design freelancer, and so on.
Wow, that's actually really smart. I never thought of just putting in freelance and then literally watching other people teach you how to freelance. Wow. There's literally something for everything.
And that's going to be a big hurdle. A lot of freelancers, the way they have to work, it's the same as most successful companies. You have to create different silos. Amazon doesn't just make money off their marketplace. They make money off marketplace. They make money on Twitch, all their other subsidiary companies. They make money off their web services. They have all these different silos to continue to generate profit for them and their shareholders. And as a freelancer, you're investors and shareholders are you and yourself and you. So you need to create different ways to make money. So,
Yes.
For example, for you, AdSense, advertising from the podcast, and then later on affiliate marketing. And then, you need to create these different silos. And in these classes, they teach you that.
Right.
How to just compound more and more ways to make money off your brand.
Right. And see, that's the gift that keeps on giving, and that's what I like about that. I was looking at my Social Blade a little earlier today because I found out about that website, and I was looking at other YouTubers' Social Blade. I didn't look at yours, but I was looking at other YouTubers' Social Blade. I'm like, you know what? I should probably put more time into this. And when we talked earlier, I don't know, it all just clicked. Shout out to Mr. Street. He said, just suggestion, find a nearby farmer's market, kind of like Bears Grove. Excellent farmer's market, by the way. So they shop there so they know who you are. They won't suspect you as a op. That's good advice. Thank you, Mr. Street. And great food there, usually organic for the most part. Make sure they're good. I actually went there last week. They have some excellent peaches right now that you guys got to check out. And they got seeded grapes. So check that out. But yeah, no, I would agree. I think I might go ahead and buy a freelancing course on here as well because I do think I need to maximize what I'm already doing. I probably have more than a couple things that I could be maximizing to give me that freedom I need, just like the rest of everyone else listening. So, beautiful. I like that. Now, let me ask you this question. Based off of, it seems like what you did was come on here and provide a solution for how to circumvent, these companies mandating you do certain things with your body and just suggestions as well. What do you think about what Biden's doing? Do you think this is an overreach? Do you think this is right on time? Do you think there's a better way to do it, or are you fine with it?
So I personally think it's an overreach, especially in terms of there wasn't a lot of granularity from what I could tell, as far as who's it going to affect. They kind of threw like an open blanket on who it could affect. Like for example, earlier when I was talking to you, I was mentioning, you know, FHA workers and people who are like possibly like not going in. Like there wasn't really too much granularity that I saw
Right.
in regards to that. So I just think, you know, that maybe they'll only say, oh, it can only affect these people right now, but they're not putting that limit on who it's going to affect.
Right. And it sounds to me like the broad approach is the best approach because you can kind of veil quite a bit in that. Um, it, it's a tough situation. I mean, I want to see how they work or conduct with the at home workers. That's what I want to know. Are they going to require at home workers to come in the office to get tested each week? I mean, how are they going to do this? Because I'm seeing something. There's something here. There's something here. Someone said in the chat earlier, these insurance companies are going to be raising the price or raising everybody's insurance to account for the vax versus unvax. The vax versus unvax is going to be like smoking and non-smoking or pre-existing condition. How the hell did vax to unvax become the new pre-existing condition at which you can be discriminated against from a health care? And no less being presented by Democrats. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I see this, I just am thinking back to Orwell's 1984 book they had you read when you were in high school. It's like,
oh, you mean the book they banned for all the zillennials?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. They banned that book. Then I think there was a book that came out, but it was banned even before I got to the schools. It was called Gold, Dollars, and Power, which explained the entire monetary system and how gold and the dollars work. I mean, there's a lot of banned books that a lot of people should be looking at. Is Animal Farm still banned? You know?
I don't know if Animal Farm is banned. I know, and they I don't think they followed through with this, but I know even in Canada at one point they were going to remove the talks of what was it? They were going to remove the talks of like the Holocaust from their history books for a period of time for high schoolers, and they were saying it was too sensitive of a subject for them to learn. But my whole thought process is, well, you know, if we don't teach it to them, you know, if we don't learn from our history, we're doomed to repeat it, that whole mess. And I get it's a sensitive subject, but still.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think when we don't talk about it, we're essentially rewriting history. I mean, a lot of people don't like to talk about it because it's very confusing for a lot of people. But the CRT, critical race theory, a lot of people look at that as rebranding or retelling history, maybe from the loser's point of view, if you will, where it does cast the country in a bad light, and it highlights the sins that are prevalent even to today. I personally, I like the idea of something like critical race theory. However, the people that are actually forming critical race theory, or the lack of notable people that I've researched when it comes to history, these are not the people that I would not put this type of program in their hands, because what it'll do is it'll not only water down or diminish what actually happened. So sometimes you leave things alone, and sometimes you can better things, but you got to be very careful with who is telling you your history. So it's a quite an interesting situation.
And it's funny you bring that up. And I know this is something you would know a lot about. But just I remember one of my friends even telling me, you know, he does like the Bible, but he's like, which version? Because the one dictated by King James, which is, you know, the more popular one in the Western United States, it's it is dictated by a king, so it's in his mind what was acceptable during that time. So it's like, how much of this is going to be fact, how much of this is going to be fiction, and what got forgotten in the desert.
Right. Yeah, and you make a good point. I mean, I hear the King James version and New King James version is what I grew up with. Now, I have heard, of course, they're like, well, they left a lot of books out of the Bible. I think they said about 11 books, which I think is the amount of books that are in the Apocrypha or the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Book of Enoch is one of those. And, it's very interesting when you take those books and put them in with the rest of them. It paints not a very different picture, but a more holistic picture. Because there's some stories in there that are like, dang, I didn't know God was like that, or dang, I didn't know that happened. But you're right. There is a lot of translations. What I would say is, whether it's New King James Version, King James, or even find the earliest version, I think it's called Strong's or Goods. Damn it, what is it called? Oh, that was sacrilegious. Sorry, God. Okay. Strong's Exhaustions Concordance. So this helps you look up whether it's the word in Greek and I think Aramaic or Hebrew. So you get the Hebrew and Greek. So you get the most or at least watered down version. But I do agree with Mr. Street. I learned if you read the scripture in spirit with prayer, you'll get the message. And that's true too. That's absolutely true. I noticed that a lot when you're reading God's word, your spirit's got to be in it. And usually the message can be relayed very faithfully that way. But if you're just studying it from a study point of view, then the Strong's Concordance is what I would suggest to get the most faithful translation if you don't learn those languages on your own. That's what I would tell your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But-
we got a little off track there.
No, you're fine. Man, I'll tell you what. I know you're I feel like you and me could do some shows in the future because I feel like we could go anywhere with it. Honestly, I'm sure you know a lot about quite a bit, and I'm sure we could probably talk crypto. We could probably talk. I don't want to say conspiracies. We could talk multidimensional. We could talk all of that. So
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually on my latest video, I just technically announced that I was going to be diversifying a little bit. I'm still going to do resources for getting into the technical space, especially for people who are newer.
yeah.
Technical, project management, marketing, but I also I also just announced that I was going to be getting into the crypto space as well as like the tech, like just general tech news, as well
Excellent.
as helping people who want to learn how to live stream.
Oh, okay.
I do have a lot of experience in that. I was able to help my wife get affiliated on Twitch within 30 days of starting her channel.
Really?
So
That's big.
yeah, I have a little bit of experience in the field, so I thought I'd be able to help some people reach their goals that they want to get to.
That's pretty good. I mean, that getting that affiliated status, the a YouTube approved status. I mean, that's how you make money. So, man, dang. Okay, I'm glad you're diversifying. And hey, whenever you get on that, let me know. I've done a few crypto shows myself, teaching people how to invest. I'm not a financial advisor, of course, but it's something. It's freedom.
Yes.
What were you going to say?
While we're on the subject, what do you think of what's going on right now. I noticed on a lot of the shows I watch, especially, I think it was earlier on in the week when we saw that dip first happen. I know they were spreading around a lot of FUD. And, I saw so many people saying sell, sell, sell. And I'm like, all right, good luck if you're selling now. I'm like, just wait till
Listen,
October. We'll see if you're still saying sell, sell, sell.
man, listen. I'll speak on this and then I'll end it. When I saw that dip, I'm like, I told my father, I said, hey, listen, El Salvador, they're about to make Bitcoin their currency. Let's hope there's no mass hacking attempt, or someone tries to manipulate the market. Lo and behold, right on time, the market dips for seemingly no apparent reason. And I'm like, good God, why would they do that? I mean, obviously, I know why. They can't allow that to be successful, because if the United States starts losing countries from using their fiat currency and having faith in it, I mean, that's all the American dollar is. It's IOU propped up by our massive military and our inculcation within every civilized and uncivilized country that uses our monetary money, our petrodollar. So, of course, El Salvador gets off of it. Then it's only a matter of time till Venezuela. And Venezuela is a massive oil producer. So you get them on that, then China's going to get some ideas, which they're already working on the digital yuan. And you got Russia. And you get those people decoupling, you just destabilize the entire world economy. And there's going to be a worldwide depression. But after the depression, you'd have the United States no longer being the single superpower, or it's already the declining superpower. But you see places like China and Russia, presumably China, take the world power dynamic by storm. So, yeah, it's crazy what they did to El Salvador, but it really only makes sense from a geopolitical point of view. Still shitty, though.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
100% agree. And you're right. I kind of saw it coming as well, but at the same time, those same people who are now earning money in crypto,
Yeah.
As I said, come October, they're gonna be telling all those people, yeah, well, it's paying off now.
Yeah, they should have bought on the dip.
But now I even see the SEC, after we're going after XRP, they're now going after Coinbase.
That was so crazy to me.
For lending of all things. But the reason why is
Right.
I feel like because now, the banks are probably getting on their back, because, now they're trying to offer lending. They already are getting more interest through Coinbase than they would through like a CD at bank. And like there's like, why would they even use the bank anymore? Just put everything in Tether or USDC, and then just have a higher percentage increase there over time than they would at their traditional bank.
Yeah, no, I feel. Oh man, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Mr. Street is on it. Mr. Street knows all this, man. So Mr. Street said he lost the opportunity to make 5 digits selling Axie Infinity a couple months ago. I mean, I had never even heard about Axie Infinity. Did you hear about Axie at all?
100%. Mr. Street,
Wow.
You're going to get your money. Just hold. Don't sell. You're going to get your money back. That game is one of the bigger ones in the NFT gaming sector, and it's not going away.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about NFTs lately. Yeah.
They're in this, as far as the NFT gaming space, Axie Infinity is the biggest one, and it's not going to go away. It's going to keep going up.
Wow. See, and that's the thing here. Let me see here. All right, let's go ahead, banner. All right, boom. All right, there we go. But yeah, Axie Infinity. I mean, I might look into this. I mean, I think it's a bit too much to get in, but man, wow, I'm surprised I didn't hear about them. But I mean, you take it from there. Diamond hands, Mr. Street. You gotta have some diamond hands, okay? Me, I mean, I don't want to tell y'all everything, but I will put it here. This is the one right here, boy. Mr. Shiba Inu. Mr. Shiba Inu. I
And
know.
what's the network? It's Rush or for Shiba,
Let me see here.
it's like 600 or 800 right now, right? For the network it's on. It's
Let me see here. It's on. I didn't need the blue paper. I mean, it's on Shiba's. I think it's an Ethereum. It's Ethereum. Ethereum co-founder. I suppose it would be on Ethereum, but I know it's gaining utility. I mean, it has some level of utility. We got our own swap. This one's going to be big. Shiba, it's definitely not just I don't even want to call it a meme token. I mean, we just got listed on Webull. We just got listed on Coinbase Pro. We're going to get listed on regular Coinbase. And we hit Robinhood.
I saw that on Webull. I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. We just got to get to 1 cent, man. 1 penny. Yo, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm telling y'all, go get y'all some Shiba. It's so cheap right now. And it's 53. Man, it was 30. It was 30 a couple months back, or a month back, or a month and a half back. I say go ahead and get you, I don't know, get you 50 mil. Sit on that 50 mil and wait to get to 4 cents. 50 mil at, I think, 4 cents is $2 million. Oh, mate. Wow. Yeah, diamond hands for real. Smart man. You have any Shiba?
I do not, but now that it's on Webull, I will.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, man. I'm actually gonna probably next payday pick up some more because I wanna lower that threshold. I mean, 1 penny is definitely
Leash.
doable. Yeah.
Leash is the network that Shiba is on,
Oh yeah. Leash.
and that's where people are able to earn like their interest on it. Is Leash, and if you look at the price of Leash, just look at what it was a month ago when it was like closer to its peak. I think it was
Yeah.
I thought it was over 1,000. I could be wrong.
Well, it looks like it could have very well been. It's at 741 right now, and that looking at the charts here. Let's see here. September 20th. So, let's see. Let's see. Trade history. Let me see here. Chart by trade view. I'm trying to look for. Hold on. Week.
Oh, it was at 1,100.
1,100. Okay. Yeah. 1,100. Yeah, you're right. 1,100. Back in April. Yeah, back in April. Yeah. So yeah. So do you know the difference between Leash and Bone? Because I'm pretty sure Bone is staking, right?
Yes, Bone is staking, and I think Leash is just for doing kind of like nodes for doing transactions on the network.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, damn. I feel like I should get some Leash then, because those nodes are where the money's at. Have you heard about this Saitama coin as well? I heard about it.
I have not. The only thing I heard, and by the way, my opinion is a little bit biased. I watch BitBoy Crypto a lot, and George, We Are George, We're All George. Those are two of the more people I listen to more often. But on BitBoy Crypto, one of the people they had on there note that this person came from traditional financing,
Yeah.
so he does have a little bit more of a biased opinion. But he said we're not going to see this cycle, but one thing we are going to see is more tokenification, tokenomics.
Yeah.
Like for example, with sports and companies and stuff like that. Rally was one, and then Chili's was another. Chili's, they have been doing stuff with esports as well as soccer.
Chili's the restaurant?
No,
Oh, here it is.
CHC. I wish.
You're right.
But Chili's, we're not going to see this bull run cycle, but next bull run cycle, we're going to see this like just go up as well as rally. So Chili's, they've done a lot of stuff with esports, G2, as well as it was a lot of European teams, and then they do popular soccer clubs, and I think they've just started working with basketball orgs as well for like creating tokens for like people to redeem at different events and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right.
And then
Premier League Club, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just saying Premier League Club. Shiba Inu and Chili's jumped 33% and 26% of Coinbase Pro listing. Yeah, and that was a month ago. Yeah, they're doing a lot in the month of August.
And Rally is the same premise where creating community tokens.
Yeah.
And the person who was the financial advisor said, in the future you're going to see, for example, Disney tokens and stuff where you could redeem for points. Like that'll be instead of their point system, they'll have like Disney coins or something like that. And then that's where you're going to start seeing a lot more mass adoption, where you're going to see companies using this instead of, for example, gift cards, that you're going to see token systems set up. And that's when you're going to see a lot more mass adoption, and like Rally and Chili's are going to blow up from there.
Okay, let me see here. Chili's is, where's Chili's at? Because I think I want to get some Saitama coin. Yeah, and I could throw some. Oh hell yeah! I'm gonna cop some Chili's. I'm definitely gonna cop some Chili's next paycheck and some Saitama coin. That can't hurt. Mr. Street said something about Clover. Are you familiar with Clover?
I've heard a little bit about Clover. I've not done too much research myself, though.
Okay. Well, they're 120. They're 298 ranked, but they're at $1.27. Let's see here. Charts looking decent.
One thing for anyone who's Cardano lovers out there in the audience.
Just about to ask you about Cardano. Go ahead.
I love Cardano. I got in at $1.07.
Oh my god! Really?
Yes. Well, actually, no. I didn't get in at $1.07. I got my wife in at $1.07. I got in at like $2. So she's made a lot more money than I have on it. One thing you may want to look up for is the decentralized exchanges.
Yes.
For them coming out, because they are starting to come out, and one specifically to look at, in my opinion, is going to be Sunday Swap. And for that one, it's probably going to be a few cents, but I could see easily that turning into something that, like the same sort of decentralized exchange as Sushi Swap or Pancake Swap or something like that.
Yeah, Pancake, Uni, Sushi. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, DeFi is the way. But I think one of the things that I don't want to say holds DeFi back, because honestly, I think people are going to definitely want that. I know personally that that's something I'd be interested in. But, one of the questions is going to be, what happens if someone takes my crypto? Because I'm not going to lie. Someone got me. someone got me. I took quite a bit from me, and I had no recourse. And this was through Coinbase. So I know that'll me personally. I had to deal with that. So I know that sucks, but I think they're going to attack DeFi, man. I think they're going to attack these exchanges, and honestly, I think they're going to try to get people to clamor for regulation, clamor for that. How do we feel about hard wallets? I'll let you take that. Go ahead.
So by just to make sure, Mr. Street, so by hard wallets, you mean similar to like a YubiKey? Like it's like, you know, for security, it's like, you know, an actual hard physical copy, correct?
Let's see how much lag there is. Mr. Street's on. He's probably talking about that. But let's see.
Okay. I love that concept. Like I love YubiKey. I have a YubiKey for like my security credentials. I actually prefer those over traditional authenticators like Google Authenticator and anything like that. So yeah, I 100% prefer hard wallets and that sort of technology because it just adds another layer of like, you know, who are you, what do you have, sort of thing. Now, you know, that is going to be easier for, you know, someone who's a pickpocket to just take it off you. But if you make sure that it's somewhere where you know you're not going to lose it, and you don't bring it out the like wave it all willy nilly, then yeah, you should be fine.
Yeah, you think people are going to jack you for your car?
So yeah, I do love the idea of hard wallets. Just like everything, do your due diligence and research. Maybe look up like crypto hard wallets 2021, see which ones have the most backing, and then also make sure which ones have been around the longest, because you want to make sure it's not going to be something that's not going to be supported in another 6 months or 8 months, depending on, you know, how long they've been around. That's been the case with a lot of crypto, is like people will support something and then it'll have a lot of backing and support, and then all of a sudden it'll go away and there won't be any more support for it.
Absolutely. And thanks for answering the chat question. Because yeah, I agree with them. I love the idea of a hard wallet. You know, and something as intangible as a crypto asset, having that hard wallet makes it definitely feel real. Absolutely. And it definitely gives you a level of control that you think you might not have. I personally have the Ledger Nano, and I love it. I think it's great. I do have my share of soft wallets, of course, but I was able to got through my Coinbase wallet. So hard wallet all the way for me. So yeah, you'll just have to kind of look. It's easy Google search or DuckDuckGo search, and you can find what works best for you. But yeah, that's the one. This
I
is
think Ledger has been around for a while, haven't they?
Oh yeah. They've been a while. They've been around at least since 2017. So they're really good. I like them. I trust them. But there are others that are at least less expensive or more expensive. And you're right, it's having that two-factor authentication in it, or shoot, three-factor or four-factor. You know, they get really in depth with it. Just do not lose those keys. I'd say write the keys down, put them in a safe or something. You know, put them under, you know, a child's bed or just anywhere, a dog's doghouse. You know, wrapped up real tight somewhere. Do not lose those keys. Did you hear about that guy that lost a hard drive full of Bitcoin, or he threw it away?
And he was looking in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, he must be sick.
It's just funny, you mentioning like, you know, putting it under your bed or under your kids' blanket or something. That just
Yeah.
reminds me back in the day when they used to say, you know, the crazy people used to hide money under their mattress.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just wasting away. Well, they're no longer crazy when it's crypto because you know, you're losing your money due to inflation by just keeping it in the dollar and keeping it in the bank, and he's actually gaining money because he's not touching it.
Exactly, man. Amazing how things changed. You remember when they used to talk about how stock market was the way to go, and how crypto is just it's just too volatile, and there is some truth to the volatility of it. But man, I'll tell you, you'll never have an overnight millionaire off of a stock in the same droves as you will off of a crypto.
100%, 100%. I know my friend, he's in the same boat you are. He's in the Shiba boat. He actually a while ago he put in, I think it was like a couple $100, $400-500, and then it went up to like, you know, 100 something thousand, 160,000, whatever. And then that's when he started, like, you know, putting it on the node for validating transactions, and he was being paid out in leash
Oh my goodness,
because he
smart
just didn't
man.
touch it. He's, you know, he's financially well off. He's a pretty big accountant where he works, and I think he's moving up to a I forgot the term in the accounting business, but he's moving up to like basically the validator. Uh, I,
Okay.
for, I forgot that term, but in the accounting space. So he, you know, he doesn't need to use it. So he just put it all for validating transactions, and he kept getting paid compounded weekly interest or however they do it in leash, and 10%, like 12%, whatever per uh, transaction validation, and now he's off to the races.
Wow. And see, that's how you do it. If you can, a little goes a long way. You just like you said, you gotta have diamond hands. You gotta have and you gotta do your due diligence. This isn't just like you know, oh, this is one penny, throw money at it. I mean, the chances of you actually hitting big without actually looking at their white papers, if they have any, looking at the news, looking at the deals they're doing, you gotta look at these things the same way you would vet or research a stock or any investment. It's just that much easier to do it. And there's a Mr. Street has another question. I'll let you take this too. My quick answer on this will be: I think Elon is. I think he's controlled opposition. I think Elon understands his role. I honestly, I think Elon wouldn't mind using cryptocurrency, but I think maybe with all the government contracts he has, there's some sort of incentive for him to kind of price manipulate if he can. I mean, McAfee went to jail for that, and we see what happened to him. But Elon seems to be untouchable for one reason or another for doing the exact same thing. Um, yeah, he undeniably has an influence. That's why a lot of people got into Dogecoin. Um, Doge really has no utility. It's complete meme. Whereas if you have like a coin like Shiba or obviously what was the one Chili's or maybe even Clover or Axis, now you're really cooking with something. So Elon's influence is significant, and I think you're always going to have those investors that will invest off of the name. Um, Ultimately, though, I don't think he's going to be that much of a threat. As the investors become more educated, and with time, the market becomes more saturated with investors, I think we'll be able to overcome that. What do you think?
I 100% agree. I think that right now he is still writing on the Doge coin, and he even said it himself in like a couple interviews, not just one. He's like, wouldn't it just be so funny if the coin that everyone thought was a joke was the normal currency in the future? I mean, I think I'm like, come on. But like, all these other companies that have so much like thought put into how they function in the space, and you're just going to say that. I just think that's why when he did that SNL skit, why it tanked so much, because I mean, he knew it was a joke. But I mean, I don't think he's not gonna. I think he's gonna continue to support it.
Yeah.
But also, he's been doing a lot of support for Ethereum.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. Wait. So you think he's gonna have a greater impact on Ethereum? Like he's gonna get with the Vitalik guy?
He has already started working with Vitalik a little bit.
Okay.
So
Love kids, man. Love them.
sorry, one moment.
Nah, you good, bro. I'm gonna mod up Mr. Street for rocking with us, and I'm gonna mod up Dante for rocking with us. With great power comes a great responsibility. But I rock with you. Good questions too, man. But yeah, that's what. Of course, man. Of course. Let's see here. But yeah, so I think maybe I'll do. Like I said, I'll be trying to do more of these streams. I will. I talk about a whole host of things. Real talk, current events. I'm not into the gossip like that, but I take user requests. I do a little crypto, little Bible study. I do everything. Pretty much, I do whatever the hell I want because this is my channel. But I am trying to bring a bit more structure. I do on the street interviews. Check it out, and yeah, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Got a Facebook group, and we do our thing. But what we'll do here, I'm actually gonna close it up because I've got somewhere to be. I got people waiting on me. It is Friday night, Friday night. So I'm about to hit up Tega Lounge and Nightclub. About to hit up Tega, and we'll see what's up with that. And let's see here. But yeah, guys, make sure you subscribe to Dalton in the Cloud. Let me see if I can find his page. Dalton in the Cloud. Because his videos, man, I'm telling you, they're tight. Dalton in the Cloud. He's trying to shadow ban him or something. They're making it hard for me to find him. I know I'm subscribed to him though. Dalton in the Cloud. Oh, it should show me. Yeah. There we go. It's in alphabetical order. There my boy goes. All right, so let's go ahead. All right. So you guys are going to see this is his good talk. See you next time. Peace out, Mr. Street. You're always welcome over here next time when we talk about everything, anything and anything. You got my email if you ever have any ideas or suggestions. But yeah, that's Dalton. That's Dalton in the Cloud. If you're looking to, like I say, he's diversifying his content, but if you're looking to get into certifications, career tips, product reviews, passing SQL exams, AWS exams, which is Amazon Web Services, CompTIA, CompTIA Security Plus A Plus, Cloud Essentials, Cloud Guru, all of that. He's going to help you get started. He's going to help you get in. He's going to take good care of you. And he knows what he's talking about. He's the man. Like I said, I watched the video. Let me see here. Pass your AWS practitioner with these tips he made. And I literally just watched the video and I got started. So great resource. Check them out. And as always, this is Real Talk, Real People. Stay safe and keep it real. Peace.